My name is Mathew Oyedele. I'm a curator and art historian, and I will be moderating this panel discussion. So I would like to welcome everyone here. I can see Kunle Adewale, Arts and Medicine. I can see Aderemi Adegbite, Jelili Atiku, Yusuf, Durodola, Adeola Balogun, Mayowa Nasiru, Niyi Olayiwola, Modumbi and family, Adetiloye. Thank you for being here, everyone. So I would like to invite Yusuf Durodola to do a little introduction of the discussants here. So Yusuf Durodola, you have the floor. Yusuf, can you hear me?
I think he has to unmute himself.
Okay. Yusuf, you might need to unmute yourself so that you can introduce the discussants here, please. I think it's not online. He just left at the moment. I can't see him again. So we are gathered here. So while we wait for Yusuf to come online, we are gathered here to have a conversation on Yusuf Durodola's recent performance, which is titled Segun Adefila. And we'll be looking at performance art as a veritable tool for political consciousness. So that's why I'm inviting Yusuf Durodola to introduce the discussant as well as give us a brief of the performance. But right now, I can't see him online again. Maybe he's struggling with the network or something. Okay, Yusuf is back online again. Yusuf, if you can hear me, kindly do an introduction of the discussants and give us a brief of the performance. Thank you. Yusuf,
Hello?
can you hear me? Yeah, yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, okay. I can hear you.
All right. Did you hear what I said?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I heard you. Yes, I heard you.
Okay, please go on. You have the floor.
Okay, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much. My name is Yusuf Durodola. I'm a visual artist. And today I'm presenting my performance piece titled Segun Adefila. First and foremost, I will be introducing the panelists, the discussants. Here we have Mr. Jelili Atiku, a renowned international performance artist in Nigeria and staying in Lagos. So he has very powerful performances out there that talks about the issues that threaten our existence. And that is why on this platform, he's been invited to talk about this performance and use this performance as a medium of, expression. We also have Mr. Segun Adefila. Mr. Segun Adefila is a theater practitioner and a dancer. Thank you, I can see you. So he's also into humanitarian and also he uses his art pieces to reactivate people's minds and to talk about the issues that are also affecting our lives and also projecting how we can find solutions to it. So through dance, theater, music, poem, and poetry and other things. So we also have Mr. Aderemi Adegbite. Remi Adegbite is known for his communal engagements. He resides as a number of events that connects people together, and he's also an international artist. So he is on this platform to also share his experiences with us. Then we have Niyi Olayiwola. Niyi Olayiwola is an engineer. At the same time, he's social analyst, and he has done quite a number of analyses on our political issues, and he has been invited also to share the platform with us, and also share his experiences so far. Then we have on the last on the list, Mr. Kunle. Mr. Kunle Adewale is an international person, and he's known for his commitment in human health. So he uses his heart skill to promote our health system, and he's the creative director of Art in Medicine project. So here he is also coming in to use this platform to tell us how the political issues also affecting our health system, and also, even more than that, how it's been affect our life as a whole. And that is why we have all of them on this platform, to share their experiences. Then the performance is tied to Gudogoji, which is a Yoruba word, which can also connote gambling. So the performance is being used as a canon to scrutinize some of the issues around our political platform, our political issues in Nigeria, and also looking at how these actions being taken by politicians and their structure, the way they structure, how it's been affect our existence as whole. Now we see them as, as an entity on their own, but whatever things they discuss in their home party is also affecting us, affecting the masses. So the performance is used as a platform to examine what is happening there and how that is being affecting our own existence as human in general. So the performance as in the costume, the transparency aspect to cover the head, which shows that we actually see the people, but do we really know them? And we also use the God in the performance to show that Omuti, the little time that is spent, towards the election, to bombard us, and it makes us to forget whatever things that they have done, in the past to tamper our existence. So, and we also dress in a gorgeous way to show that they have more than enough, still yet they are still exhausting us. So that's general about the performance, but the performance piece will be shared with us. So let me share my screen, and we watch the performance a bit before we now, I will leave this platform for the director of the discussion.
I think Yusuf is struggling with the network. It's just, Yusuf, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. All right, go on, go on.
The screen is still on.
Yusuf, I can't see your screen. I don't know if any other person can see your screen. Aderemi is also saying the same thing. I can't see your screen.
Wow.
Again.
Okay.
I can hear the sound of the performance, but the video is not showing. So maybe you will share your screen. So the video is showing, but it's hanging. It's not playing. I can hear the sound, but the video is not playing. So Kunle Adewale is asking if you can send it to him on WhatsApp so he can share, because it's not playing so well from your end. So if you can hear me, the video is not working well. So kindly send the video to Kunle Adewale so that he can share. It's not working well from him. Please.
So may I recommend maybe we make progress so that, because this going forth and back, the video can be played later so that we're not.
All right. So
yeah, we need to just make progress so that we're not dealing with technical issues.
Thank you. Thank you for the suggestion. Right. I was going to ask if every one of us has seen the performance so that we make progress without having to waste much time to wait for the video. Have we seen the performance? Have we all seen the performance rather?
Oh, I didn't see the performance. So.
Oh, Mr. Jelili, thank you. You've seen the performance, right?
No.
Okay. Okay, that's one. Let me hear from Aderemi. Aderemi, if you can hear me, have you seen the performance?
I've seen a bit of it, but it would be nice to see the entire performance as a point of departure for this conversation.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, let me hear from Kunle Adewale.
I've not fully seen it.
Can you hear me? Have you seen the performance?
Partially, not fully like that, just partially.
Okay, okay. So let me hear from Segun Adefila. Have you seen the performance also? Hello, Segun, can you hear me? Niyi Olayiwola, have you seen the performance also?
No, I haven't seen it fully. I think the performance on Facebook, so I
Okay, okay. So should we, I didn't hear anything from Kunle. Should we give Yusuf some time to share the performance? Because I'm not sure. Okay, Segun is having problem to unmute himself. Kunle, can you please help me unmute Segun?
He's been made a co-host now, so he can actually unmute himself.
Okay. Segun, please unmute.
Okay, I could not unmute before. I've been trying. It says I need the permission of the host. So
yeah. Okay, have you seen the performance?
I saw an excerpt of it. Yes, I saw an excerpt of it.
So I'm throwing this to the house now. Should we give Yusuf some time to share the video so that we see the performance as a point of departure? Because I don't think we should go into the conversation proper without seeing the performance. But what do you think?
In a situation like this is a technical challenge.
Yes.
If you keep going forth and back, you're going to disengage everybody. So the wise thing to do is to make
progress. Okay, thank you. So, Aderemi, what do you think?
I agree with Kunle.
Okay. Jelili, what do you think?
I don't think the conversation is a review of the performance. At least the conversation has its own theme, which is basically talking about how performance can increase the consciousness of the people. So I think we should go ahead. Those who it just to make reference to it. So if it also make reference to it, I do not think it's basically for us to be analyzing the performance in detail. And just like the Yusuf himself has told us as introduction what the performance entails, I think we can go ahead with the conversation. If later on we're able to see the performance good, and also for the public can also go ahead and also watch the performance and also relate to the content of our conversation. So I want to submit we should go ahead with the conversation.
Okay, we have three. Thank you so much. So let me hear from Niyi Olayiwola. Niyi, what do you think? Niyi, can you hear me? Okay, Kunle Adewale, what do you think? We should go ahead, right?
No, I've made that suggestion twice already. So I think that's my problem. Now it's not online now. And we have other things to attend to.
Yes. All right, thank you so much. So I would start the conversation with Aderemi, because Aderemi is an artist curator with an interest in social interventions. Yes, I like that. I like that social intervention. So, Kunle, can you help me make Niyi Olayiwola co-host? Thank you, because he said it's finding the host.
It's done already. It's done already. You can omit it.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Aderemi, like I said, start the conversation from you. So would you say performance arts is a veritable tool for political consciousness in Nigeria? I'm asking because you are an artist curator who is interested in social interventions. I've seen what you do in The Wire, right? So I'm throwing this to you, that would you say performance art is a veritable tool for political consciousness in Nigeria?
Well, thank you, Mathew, for asking me to be the first to start this conversation. Well, it's interesting to be part of these panel to talk about the role, quote unquote, nation building kind of, or calling the attention or attention of the people of the public to a certain situation that is affecting us. Well, I will talk basically from the experience. I've done quite a lot of stuff with the community, and I've always seen performance arts as a kind of tool that, in a way, grip people's attention, and either they get the message or not get the message. But then it's something that, in a way, grips people's attention, and in a way, you use that opportunity to pass a message that is being encoded in the performance, to the public. And I've seen quite a lot of such performances where the audience actually get it, outrightly and say, this is what the artist is trying to say. And I've also seen situations where the audience are unable to actually decode what the artist is trying to say in the performance. All in all, I still believe that, performance is a very strong tool to use to actually prick into the consciousness of the people, particularly the people in the public space. Mathew, you are mute. Okay.
Okay. That's fine. Thank you. That's a very interesting submission. I have another question for you from your submission about, I'll come back to you, right? So let me go to Segun Adefila, who comes from a royal family, and you were raised in a palace, Segun. So if I will ask you, would you think performance art is a veritable tool for political consciousness?
Yes, thank you very much for this privilege. Can everybody hear me, please?
Yes.
Yes.
I can hear you.
So like you rightly observed, my growing up years, I spent my early childhood in a palace. And I remember that within the palace, the masquerades will come and get their royal blessing before hitting the community, to do their performances. But as a child, I just thought the masquerades were around to entertain us. But again, it wasn't seen just as mere entertainment. It was like, okay, the masquerades will come, you're enjoying what you're seeing, but it's also a ritual, say, for instance, there's a land there's a particular, we just go around, they keep going around and they'll be saying, in our language, and we keep bringing that around, that. I'm telling you, after a while, the clouds will gather and it will rain. So this was supposed to be, in those days, it was just a way of let's call the masquerade to intervene. Now, in post-colonial context, that's the way I see the performance artist too, is the reinvention, the reemergence of the ancestral masks coming to do what they used to do in the past. So for me personally, it goes without saying that that's what art is mainly about, whether in Africa or in Europe or wherever it is. It talks to the society, it speaks to the soul of the society, at the risk of sounding like a messianic artist, because sometimes we come with, I've come to preach the word of freedom, I've come to preach justice, I've come to free my community from bondage, like we are Jesus or Muhammad, peace and honor unto his name. No, that's not what we're saying. We're just saying that the performer is the performance artist is a social engineer, and as soon as something goes wrong or there's an observation, even when things are going right, it is within the domain of the performer to intervene, to to express joy, to sanction it. So the masquerade will come out when there's something, when there's triumph, when you have done something good, the masquerade will come out to celebrate. But in the time of tribulation, so when there's the society is not balanced, the same masquerade will come up. No, it's not the masquerade. So the performance artist is modern day masquerade. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for that submission. Right. So before I ask Jelili, Kunle Adewale, and Niyi, so I would like to go back to Aderemi. Aderemi, you mentioned something when you were talking. You said the audience, sometimes the audience got the message, and you've seen where the audience did not get the message. So in a situation where you think the audience did not get the message, what do you think the performer should do in that situation?
Well, there is a culture to almost everything in life, you know. For performance art, I think, you know, that's the reason why after the performance you have some kind of conversation. There's a talk, you know, with the artist after the performance, so that the audience can then, in a way, listen to the angle at which the performance, because, you know, performance art is actually not theater, it's not drama, it's something that is happening, it's spontaneous, it's just going. The performance artist might have said that this is my direction, and it's you know, during the performance, and something might change that is direction, you know, or he added other things to it, you know, and you cannot get that because there is no script for that. It's not written somewhere. You know, you cannot quickly get it that, oh, something has changed, except if you are someone who is so who have seen so many performance arts, you know, because it's not performing art, it's performance art now. If you have seen so many, and you can, in a way, use that to, you know, it will help you in interpreting what the performance artist is doing. But then you cannot get it all. You still have to listen, you know, to the direction, and then you can then have conversation with the performance artist. So sometimes when they don't get it, and it's also interesting that you cannot get everybody that have seen the performance. Let's say for a possession performance now, you cannot get everybody back to the location where the artist talk will take place. So some people will still be missing, you know, in terms of the interpretation or the essence of the performance. But then the little that can get to the to the talk can then begin to interpret and then get a proper understanding of what the performance is all about. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. Yusuf is asking now if you can restart the screen. So what do you think? Should
I think I would recommend there's a flow in the conversation already. Don't break it. Like,
okay, yeah, that's fine.
Yes, you just have to be very observant. Look at the flow of the
that's fine. Thank you.
Allow it to continue. That way, you plug in the video somewhere, but there's a flow already. So rather than taking us back, I think it's going to wear us out. Let's make progress. All right?
I agree with you.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
Thank you so much. I've already told him to wait a little bit. So let me go to Jelili Atiku. Jelili, I'm coming to you because you've been at the forefront of human rights and justice for a while, right? So what would you say for performance art as a veritable tool for political consciousness in Nigeria specifically?
Well, I don't think it's limited to Nigeria. Performance art is performance art. Nigeria does have its own performance art. Performance art as a profession, as art forms, it's everywhere. It's the same all over the world. Let me go down to the lower level. You know, we're trying to get it up. Performance uses body. In a performance, the only materials that's important is the human body, and it is organic material that inflame the psychic of the beholder. Just like, for example, when you see a beautiful lady, you are prone to use an approach, and I want to like fall in love and admire. So the same kind of way that your emotion tilts towards the body is the same way that the performers use that psychological element in influencing the minds of the beholder. So definitely, if it is designed towards political, of course, it's so powerful. It's so influential. And let me cite a sample when I did my performance in 2016 that was arrested and I thrown into prison. So it was because my body was involved and directly you could feel, the energy of which the contents was radiating, and it touches the area that was supposed to touch, and that was a reaction. So that is a pivotal material, instrument for political awareness and for political to raise political discussion. So, and also it's a material for life. I mean, it's not only limited to political consciousness, it's limited to all ramifications that have to do with human life.
Thank you. I like the word awareness. Thank you so much. So let me go to Kunle Adewale. Kunle, what do you think? From your perspective as someone who has an organization that focuses on community empowerment and civic engagement, Kunle, what do you think?
Yeah, I think, interestingly, most of the people on this call are people that I know and I admire them a lot in terms of what they do. And it's very interesting to see how it's not just about the political consciousness, it's about activism. For me, I'm just thinking about it from that angle. One of the things that we do in my organization called Art in Medicine Project, it's not just about health program, we also think about social justice. So when we think about the concept of political consciousness, activism, the bottom line, the baseline is just social justice. People who have been affected by bad governance and bad leadership. I mean, you can see students have been at home since February. I mean, yeah. And then people are sharing millions. Look like they're irresponsible fathers. Your children are wandering the street and then you're busy galvanizing, spending foreign currency if you're not a thief. If you are not a thief. And then so look at the consequences that comes with irresponsible leadership. There's so much. I was discussing with somebody that there's a huge mental health problem as regard to what is happening in the educational system. A lot of students already having mental problems. They are depressed. And then some people are looking so happy, spending money up and down. And they call themselves, they want to come and govern us. I mean, like, how? Right. So I feel that performance art is a response to the happenings in our environment. And an artist is an active player in telling the story, in curating the story, in showcasing the story. Because sometimes the people in power want to monopolize what the people in the community have to see. So they censor what is being shared in the media. I mean, there was a time Twitter was shut down. There was a time, now everything in the media has been doctored because they don't want to hear the truth. But the performance artist comes into the public and say, I am the television, right? I am the screen. And then I can tell the truth of what is happening. So the performance artists tell the story of what is happening in the society. In a way, the performance artist is holding the people in power to accountability. You have to be accountable for your behaviors. You have to be accountable for all of the things you are doing, and of course, the consequences that will come with it. So don't let me talk too much. Let me allow my guys to speak.
All right. Niyi, I've come to you, Niyi Olayiwola. So what do you have to say on performance art as a tool for political?
All right. Thank you very much. Please confirm that you can hear my voice.
I can hear you loud and clear.
Please confirm that you hear me. All right. Thank you very much. All right.
I can hear you.
In my own opinion, right? I'm an engineer. Unlike many of my guys here, who are in this. I'm an engineer, and I like what Mr. The man from the palace, Mr. Adefila, right? I like something that he said. He said, performers are social engineer. The engineer, in quotes, before you can actually do what an engineer does, basically, right? In engineering, there's a concept of input and output. We call it garbage in, garbage out. It is what you put in that comes out on the output. Forget, you cannot have the luxury of having a beautiful output when you are putting an ugly input. That's how we roll in engineering. And you know, in everything, in my own opinion, there is a story to everything. Not only performance arts, not only everything, there's a story. And the quickest learner in how we are created as humans is the subconscious. Sometimes you understand something somebody is teaching you, but you really don't know that you have understood it, right? It is when subconsciously you start to act it out that it begins to settle in, okay? So I want to take us back in the days when all we used to watch on TV was the Abijah and all that. You know, where I come from, you see kids when they are trying to, you know, play around with themselves and all. Somebody has to be Abijah and somebody will be, you know, the other guy. So, and they will be casting, what do they call incantation? That is what they know on TV, and that is how it has settled to them. So to me, I would not limit the concept of performance art as only a tool for political consciousness. You know, in my own understanding, it is more of a tool that creates an overall consciousness to establish the values of right and wrong. You know, I see it as a form of advocacy that, you know, a tool we can use to make things right. We now have these days musicians that, you know, bring out the wrong values, and then you see a whole of the generation, you know, following suit.
Can you do something on your sound? I'm losing
can
you
be
there.
a tool for political, you know, consciousness or for the lack of it, depending on how you use it, in my own opinion. So I want to stop that for now.
All right. Thank you so much for that submission. Though I lost you at some point, but I think everyone heard you. All right.
Hello.
So
I've landed. I hope you got.
Yeah, I got you. Right. So I would go to Jelili for my next question, right? Jelili, if you can hear me. So Yusuf Durodola's Segun Adefila, the performance that we are discussing today, examines the commodification of citizens' rights in terms of vote buying and inducements. So Jelili, who do you think the performance is speaking to? Is it the people who are getting induced or the ones who are inducing them, or both of them?
I can't get your question. Can you repeat it?
Okay, let me repeat. Yusuf Durodola's Segun Adefila, the performance, examines the commodification of citizens' rights in terms of vote buying and inducements. So who do you think the performance is speaking to? Is it the people who are getting induced, who are enticing them with money?
That question is so direct. When you do a performance, I don't think it's for people. It is for people. So those who want to get its performance, we need to understand something about when we create art. You know, it's art is not like the other area where you have your audience being restricted. I think Yusuf himself will know that the performance he did is in a public space.
Yeah.
And as such, he wouldn't say that, okay, only you, the government official, should come and see the performance. if the performance is for the public. So asking me this question is as if you're saying, yeah, performance art or a particular work is meant for a certain people and a certain people not to go from that. It is for the public. And those who will get meanings from it, and will infer the meanings and put it into their own personal, individual way of understanding. And I think that is the way art is all about. And that's exactly what I think Yusuf is trying to do by opening up discussion about, perhaps, as you said, commodification of the citizen life, you know. And so if that is what is Abby's intention, I think it's an open platform for him to just throw it open for everybody to be engaged with it, right? So I wouldn't say that particularly, yes, he's addressing this person, is not addressing this person. I think it's just open up this conversation, and the conversation could be perhaps in the area of commodification, as he said. But let me try to be clear more. When we are creating a work as an artist, as a performance artist, and which you don't begin to put yourself into an illustrative work, you know, and that then make your work more specifically connected to these. And of course, if it is not about that, then it's not about these. But I think when I look at the beginning of the performance, I can bring us a lot of elements that are actually not connected to what he's saying. And I think that is the way the dialogue should be open, where ordinarily those who do not have the time to retest, as he's saying, could perhaps pick some meanings from it and throw it into their own life and read meanings the way they wanted. So that as such, it make it more fair, you know, that other people who are engaging with it and will be able to understand this is exactly what I get from that. Of course, it's working on the context, which is a context-based performance, but I don't think it's specifically for this same particular audience as the question is trying to direct to. I think it's trying to be more dynamic in presenting the performance to the public, and, you know, writing on the context of the commodification of citizens by the leadership, you know, and which leaders don't actually understand what the idea of the welfareism of the citizen, and try to, you know, suddenly make everybody to be vulnerable to a lot of things that actually make, you know, just like he has the transparent element on the head, make people, you know, have their own people's consciousness being transparent and being like having a fake observation in your head and trying to fake everything. So that's what I would say for now.
Okay, thank you for pointing out the commodification. So what would you say about the commodification of citizens' rights as seen in the performance?
Well, like I said, actually, I do not think the performance has this direct definition as you're trying to put it. You know, like I tried to put it to you, it is not like drama. In a drama where you have a lot of text written, where you must have said this action is doing this, and somebody's buying tomato, you must go and buy tomato. I think it's a metaphorical statement. And in a metaphorical statement, you could liken it up to. So I'm sorry, I'm not going to answer that question and say what is the commodification in the performer, because it's not like that. It's not. I just told you about being trying to remove myself from the idea of description in the performance, which I don't think is there in it. There is no way when you see label and say commodification. No, it is an inferences that you pick from. Like, for example, the performance was done in the marketplace, right? And there was a dialogue of bargaining between the performers and also the audience, which is also selling. You know, so it could be like in the setting of the performance, he's trying to liken it up to the political.
I can't hear you anymore. Can you hear me? Jelili, I can't hear you. I don't know if you can hear me. I can't hear you, Jelili. Can you hear me? I lost you. Jelili, I lost you there. I can't hear you. I couldn't hear what you were saying at the end.
Well, I didn't mute. I think it's your network. It should be your network. You are not hearing. I didn't mute my.
I can hear you now. I can hear you now.
Yeah, I think it's your network. So because I can hear you clearly and my speaker was on throughout.
Okay. Did everyone hear? Okay. Someone say he can hear you now. So I think I'm not the only one. Did everyone hear him? Okay.
So at what point she didn't hear me so that I can repeat myself?
At that point where you said you will not liken performance to a description.
Yes, I was talking about the vocabulary you're using to want me to describe specifically object that talk about commodification in the performer. And I'm trying to say, no, I'm not going to go into that because it is not description, it is not drama. So when you have a distinct way of saying this is how it is and people must get this exactly what you're saying. Performers use symbols, use imagery, and it is this in the imagery that is embedded in you as audience trying to infer your personal meanings, deduce your personal meanings from those imagery, right? And I say, well, let's look at it from the angle that it takes place in a market space where the performance also we're negotiating with sellers, and there was this discussion, and that it could mean that we all suddenly become negotiator in Nigeria, where you negotiate your own rights, although you negotiate your own political right, and where everybody begin to sell their own right, in a little way. But I'm just trying to clear this hair about trying to make the performance look descriptive, where it must have to, because otherwise you are just narrowing it down to completely one particular area of understanding, and which could mean more, than whatever. Because, like, for example, with my understanding about life, when I look at objects, I may take it more deeper than just ordinary, having to put a kind of stereotype meanings into the symbols which the performance projects, at that moment. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I do. Clearly. Thank you. So let me go to Aderemi. Aderemi, have you seen you saw a clip of the performance, right? I don't know if you saw a part where the performer was trying to negotiate with a woman. Please vote for us at the Bofunwa. Aderemi, did you see that part? Aderemi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm here. I can hear you. So, okay. Well, I saw that part, but then I didn't get there where the characters were, the performance, when they asked that question. But I heard when the woman was saying that, which party are you guys from? And then, the conversation goes. And yeah, that was for me interesting. And it reminds me of a lot of things, how, well, maybe I should just take it from this point of view. There's a way, perhaps what you're trying to do is to make this conversation a very didactic conversation. And we just talk about the elements, we talk about the theme. And that's what I think Jelili Atiku is trying to not box you. You are trying to actually kind of box us to talking about it didactically. But then also being didactic also is, I don't think it's bad, and I think also it adds to the discourse. And I find that really interesting, and I know that quite a lot of people that encountered the performance at that point in time will be able to get the nuances, the materials, the process, because they can talk about politics. It's about APC, it's about PDP, it's about some of these parties, and people can engage, when you begin to have that kind of conversation with them. You don't have to have written a script before you have this kind of conversation with people. But then what is going on is a performance, and not that, that direct conversation. It's some kind of very metaphorical and poetic as well, in the way the performance artist, is delivering, is even if it's using lines, delivering his lines in tandem with the costume, the materials that he's using in the performance, and I find it really interesting how quite a lot of beggars, I'm taking it from that point of view, like how a lot of beggars around the world have become millionaires and even billionaires. I ran into a short documentary recently where there are very strong 5 beggars around the world. And you have one in Saudi Arabia, you have one in India, you have one in the US. I cannot remember all the 2 where they come from. But then these are, beggars that have made fortune out of, begging. And even when the government later realized that this guy is begging and he has this kind of property, how come he could be able to put up that kind of property, and chase them out of the streets? They still come back again to continue until this particular beggar was arrested and all of that, But also in there, you have another character in this documentary that was a beggar and that was actually taking care of a lot of people in Saudi Arabia. She would give apartments to people who do not have where to stay for free. But then the next day she's on the street begging for money. And we are talking about people that have really, I'm just trying to be, if we really want us to be didactic, we can be didactic about it. And people that have made fortune.
I like the fact that you're opening.
Sir?
I like the fact that you are opening up the conversation.
Yeah.
So please go ahead.
People that have made fortune out of begging, which you can liken to our politicians in Nigeria as well. They are not coming to you with any policies. They are not coming to you with any tangible option to what you have at the moment. What they're coming to you is give us your vote, and we are going to do this and we are going to do that. They talk about electricity, water, good road, and that's all. They don't talk about serious policies. They don't talk about what affects educational system. Kunle was saying earlier on that we have all these politicians throwing millions and foreign currencies up and down, and none of them is reflecting on the fact that ASU is on strike, ASUP is on strike. All our quote unquote future leaders are at home. None of them, and you can even find pastors buying forms for 100 million naira. Come on, 100 million naira, and buying just form for that. You can do charitable work with that. Imagine if a Segun Adefila would get 100 million naira, to take care of, to work with the young people that he's been working with for several years in his community in Bariga. Imagine what would that do, to the psyche of these young people in terms of perception and all of that, and imagine what quite a lot of people can do with that money. And you just pay that to the party chairman or whatever, and in the next 2 weeks, you are told that you can see that you were not selected. It's just one person that was selected, and that's it. 100 million naira is gone. So I'm just in a way, if we have to be didactic, let's really look at it from that point of view and see.
Yeah, can you hear me? I lost you there. Aderemi, can you hear me?
People to hit on it.
Okay, Aderemi, I can hear some sound from you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I lost you towards the end. towards the end, I lost you. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I was just saying that it is important for us to be able to reflect, as artists on what is going on in our community, in our surrounding, and perhaps in the world at large, and then be able to use our art to reflect on it. And well,
okay.
For me, that's the most important thing, that you can actually give as an artist, and also the reason why this performance was quite interesting to quite a lot of people who might have seen it.
Okay, right. Oh, I don't know if I should ask you this question directly or I should. Talking about the performer and the woman was not even asking about any policy, any plan for economic advancement, right? She was just asking what's the name of your party, and at the end of that, she gave the performer her vote. So that leads me to the next question. What is the role of the citizen in encouraging the political inducement and the things that the performer talked about in the performance?
Well, you are engaging with people that are interested in what they get, because that's what our political system has, have become. Our political landscape, so to say, that's what it has become. That people think about what they get rather than what will be beneficiary to the, to the public. And I'll give you an instance. In my community, I met some people and I told them that I wanted to become a counselor because I like engaging with people at the grassroots and all of that. And they told me, Remy, you are too big for being a counselor. There's no point. What you should do is give us 3 million or 4 million or 5 million. We take it to the next governor of the state. And then after that, you can be sure when the guy becomes a governor, is going to give you something, either PA to this or something. You're going to get something that would, help you to get back your money and you get more money. I don't want more money. I want to be able to relate with the people in the community. That is one thing. But the point is, a lot of us get very intellectual with this idea of with politics. We get very, very intellectual, and you see all of us. You see a lot of us. Actually, I don't want to say all of us so that I'm not generalizing. Quite a lot of us do intellectual masturbation on all the social media, and you find a whole lot of what the conversations that are going on social media coming from the diaspora. These are the people that will not be able to vote during election. They will vote. And you find people that are in the country following them also. Quite a lot of them don't vote. Quite a lot of people that are on social media don't vote. But the thugs, the market women, they already, have numbers. And when the politicians they come to them, they tell the politicians that we have this number, and for this number, we need so and so and so. So the politicians are not concerned in making policy affect everybody, but then they are just interested in, if I can take care of those thugs, down particular streets, and after the election, this guy will become the one taking the levies at a particular junction or at a particular bus stop or at a particular match. That's what they do. Meanwhile, we think that we are intellectual and we understand what is going on, we understand what the problem is, we sit backward. We don't even go out to vote at times. We are so scared that they might shoot at us, or those guys might come out with their cutlasses and all of that. And if we continue to do that, we are going to continue to have this kind of political system, and where even common a sachet of Indomie will be very important to anybody that wants to give his or her votes.
I like the conclusion. Right. So let me go to Segun. Segun, what do you think? Did you see that part? Kunle, I'm coming to you. Kunle is raising his hands. All right. Segun, did you see that part where the performer was negotiating with the woman for her votes. What would you say about that sense?
Well, like I told you, I only saw an excerpt of it. I didn't see, so I'm not sure I saw that particular bit. You know, I'm not sure. I'm not sure I saw that particular. But again, like I said, there's a connection. Can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear. Go on.
I'm more on that connection. You know, you see, cultural dislocation has done a lot of damage to our collective psyche. That's why those things that are inherent with us. For instance, if we didn't have cultural dislocation, I don't think what we were doing 5,000 years ago would be the way it is today. It would have evolved. And that involvement is what you're seeing in modern day performances all over. I give you an example. And installation art is supposed to be an innovation in Africa, but installation has always been with us. So you go to an average African home, you know, in the villages, you see the shrine of Ishu, you see the one of Ogun, you see pots for water, all of these things, you know, they were not just for the purpose of aesthetics, they were also functional. So a clay pot, a well-designed clay pot is placed beautifully in the corner of a room, in my grandmother's room, for instance. It is beautiful. You find some people beautifying their houses. They use this clay pot as decor. But the functionality of it is that water is kept in it, and that water is preserved, and that water is purified, staying in it. So the same thing goes with the performance for me. The action that you talk about, I can vividly visualize, because I saw an excerpt where Yusuf Durodola, and I must tell you, right here, that's why I said it's a privilege to be in this kind of conversation with the kind of people I'm speaking with, because these are people that over the years have proven what I believe art should stand for. The Jelili Atikus, the Aderemi, every one of us there, you know. Durodola came to my street during one of our festivals and did made one of his performances, Okpa, and you could immediately see the way the community, the street, you know, who were either not known to have been familiar with that kind of art form, they just took to it like it is their own. And this for me is memory. It's an ancestral heritage. So you own it. The moment somebody brings it to you, it will calibrate that memory. You won't know where it is coming from. Just you love this art. No, it's not like you just love this art. It's because 1,000 years ago, that's what your ancestors were doing. They were responding to every societal challenges with their performance. So the masquerade has its text, and this text is not usually written, but this text is usually spontaneous. The performance that is given in a village square will be taken to a market space and will be repeated and adapted to the scenario of the market. So when Atiku says that the performance artist text is not scripted, he is right, because you are a conduit. You are responding to the immediacy of your environment. The basis is that you have something to say. How you want to say that thing is the 50% that is yours as the performer. The remaining 50% belongs to your recipient, the consumer of your work. So they dictate. So when you find a Durodola and a woman haggling over something, I mean, this happens now. You know, the masquerade goes and the mother is so impressed, the market woman is so impressed by that performance or the praise or the prayers, and begins to churn out money or begins to even praise. Not everything is not money now. It's about praising that masquerade.
Yeah. She will do the
key of the masquerade in appreciation of what the masquerade has brought to the table. So, but cultural dislocation has done so much to us that we know that most of these things belong to us. And that's why those who are daring enough to embrace it wholeheartedly are the ones in the forefront. If the danger that our performances face now is commodification, it is commercialization of our thought processes, so that when you think of something to say, you first of all think of the marketability of it, not how it affects your community. And then that's dangerous to us. And those who are making efforts to kill, who are not crazily interested in the progression of your culture, will be the ones that will even fund whatever you're doing. So we have to be careful to say, you know what, this is what I want to say. Okay, you want to talk about say you want to talk about pollution of waters now, because you live in Makoko and you see that people are abusing the waters and all of those things. But the funding for that year is for the promotion of cigarettes. For you to switch from that which you are called to as a performer, because the performer is a conduit, whether we accept it or not. Whether we are aware of our ancestral connection to our practice or not is another question. But you are a conduit. As a child masquerade, the mother of my father would kneel in front of me when I'm in that realm with my costumes and everybody around me, and she would call me her father, even though I always got punished when I get back home for not going to school in the evening. But at that time where I have taken over that priesthood, where I've become a conduit, she attaches utmost respect to that space. And that's why as a performer, that space is not for me a space of, your voice is so important and the things you say are so important that if you allow it to be over-commodified by those who do not know the value, you just find out that what you are supposed to be the medical doctor of the society, treating them, but you see that you are the one infusing poison into that same society with your output. So I don't know if I've answered your question, but as the conversation was going on, I was listening and so many things were coming to my head, and this is where I attached, my points together, that the interaction between the woman, maybe I didn't see it, but I saw a place where the performers, a few of them with, the Durodola was standing in front of one woman and they were doing some chant, but I couldn't listen to what they were saying very well. And straight, it transported me back. Look at every performance art that you see. Relocate it to 1,000 years ago. You'll find right there the masquerade. Thank you.
Can you hear me, Segun?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you clearly. I can hear you, yes.
Still at a point. Have you landed?
Oh, yes, yes.
So, okay, if you have landed, Kunle was raising his hands. You were raising your hand.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think Mr. Segun Adefila have really said a lot, and I love the responses of other panelists as well. But primarily, I'm not really like a performance artist. I'm just more of an activist, somebody who's really on ground, trying to observe what is happening. And I didn't get to see the area of where the negotiation actually happened. And I'm trying to see with what is happening in Nigeria. I mean, look at the delegate system, where people are not, you're not really voting because of competence. You're voting because of inducement.
Yeah.
So it's game of money now. Like, it's not whether this person is a useless human being or not. The person can give me money. Like Aderemi said earlier, it's the now. So imagine that. So we have a society. There's a reprogramming. There is a mind re-engineering towards values that are not valid for good governance. Imagine election has not come. People have been giving foreign currency. People have been induced to even select, not elect. It's not election, it's selection. Selection by who has the most, who has the money. So I'm saying that, and what people do now is that it's almost difficult because what is being put before us, what we are seeing is such that you cannot have free and fair election. So now what will happen eventually would be, you better take your own part of the national cake. Otherwise, we know this election already, they know who the winner is already. So you better collect this portion of yours. Otherwise, you will miss out eventually. So there's no value of accountability. There's no value of integrity. We don't have, the value has gone down. So I feel what happened with negotiation is performance artists, I mean, I don't know, maybe what happened there was more like just try to educate the people on what their rights are. Because when you don't know what your right is, everything that they give to you looks like it. Somebody give you a bag of rice where you can own a farm of rice. You say, Arakande, they thank you, they give you a bag of rice. But what your right actually is a land that you can have thousands of bags of rice. But their ignorance actually blinded people. So I feel like, you know, in negotiating, in opening the eyes of the masses, the performance artist has a role to play in educating people on what their rights are. Don't sell your birthright. Don't collect a bag of rice when you can have a land with many bags of rice. So it's a lot of things to do. And I feel like there's so much that needs to be done in the area of education, awareness, and just that consciousness, especially in the place of value. I just think it's very important, because a society without value is a society without future, because anything goes. Anything goes. Because look at the leaders we have today. There's no value for human lives. People go to religious, they go to faith-based organ, and they kill people, and nobody's being held accountable. Oh boy, back to back. Do you want to tell me people don't know who are those who are behind it? That must be a joke. And that is a failure of a bad leadership, a failure of bad governance, a failure of electing or selecting people who do not have anything to do with governance. There's a politics of sentiment. Oh, he's from this region. He speaks this language. He looks like me. It's not about the person looking like you. It's the capacity. It's competence. It's not the color. It's not the tribe. It's not the culture. Competence over culture will give us good governance, sir. Competence over, forget is a Yoruba, is Hausa, is Igbo. Is he competent? Does he have the good wills of people in mind? Does he have track record of corruption? And yet, it's a game of money. Don't let me talk. I see Mr. Aderemi hand is up. Let me allow him to talk.
All right. Thank you. That's a strong submission. Two people are raising their hands now. Aderemi first. I'm coming to you, Niyi.
Well, it's interesting how our political system is and where we found ourselves now as a people. It's really appalling. But this didn't start now. What we are talking about now started several years ago, when the what's it called? The censorship that was done maybe in 1952 or 58, I cannot remember, that the northern part of the country said no, that they don't agree with that censorship, that it has to be done again, and it was done again, and quite a number, a very large number added to the one that was done the previous time. So what happened? Which other part of the country has ever voted for any censorship in this country? It is the northern part of the country that has done that before. And that actually, for me, was where the problem of this country started from. The problem of corruption, the problem of numbers. It doesn't matter. We have the number. Put southeast and south together, southwest together. We know we are going to win this election. In fact, join south too. We know, we are going to win this election all the time. And if that is how, if that is part of the permutation on which the politicians will win the election, I'm sorry, they will continue to win that election through that equation that they have created for themselves. because what they have done is to, in a way, mess up the educational system. And ever since that time, it's degrading, it's going down every time. Now, all of them are paying 100 million and the students that are home, they don't care. They don't care. And I'm not sure ASU is going to resume next month or so. When the 12 weeks that they added, finish, they are going to add more. I'm not sure these guys are ready for them. And that is where the problem of this country, we talk about people that have no business doing politics, but they have business doing politics because the politicians knew what they were going to use them for. And that was the reason why they, in a way, made the educational system very useless. A lot of graduates don't even know what to do with their lives. Before, they used to beg you when you graduate, when you graduate from a university, there's a job for you already. It means that, if a family has a graduate in their family, it means that, the family is going to start living a quote unquote good life. They will have a car, have a house, things will begin to happen because this guy will work in a good company where they will pay a very good salary. And we don't have that anymore. And you still want people, and I think that those guys graduating, they should go into politics. If not, those touts, those thugs, they'll be the one, dictating what is going to go on in the political realm. And that is what we are seeing right now. We cannot escape it. Those guys are infiltrated. They are the one ruling. Check all the councillors. Who are they? Who are the councillors? All of these guys are the local government levels. All of them are political thugs. And we sit back, we want the system to change. It's not going to change. It's not possible for the system to change. Let me stop there and give another person a chance.
Thank you. I have 3 hands up already. Let me allow Niyi to talk. Segun, I'm coming to you. Niyi, you can go. Niyi, can you hear me?
Listen to everybody that has spoken
and
to a very good extent. Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Right.
You have
I
the
can
floor.
hear you, yeah. So I was saying that to a very good extent, I agree with a lot of the submission that has been given before mine. And I just want to with different views. Not 100%, but a little bit. Somebody said that competence over tribalism, and it sounds really cool, competence over tribalism, right?
Yeah.
But I want to look more in, you get to talk about competence when you get to a certain level where you have a system that allows you to compete in the first place, right? So I'm looking more in the area of participation. I was having a WhatsApp debate, with a friend recently, and we're having this debate about value system versus, the system that the government has set. And I was on the side of we need, as a country, for the government to provide a system that even if you want to be, or you want to demonstrate or exhibit, the system will prevent you from doing so. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Okay. Go on.
So we need a situation where even when you want to exhibit your wrong values, we have a system in place that will prevent you from doing so, because you know that the penalty will be, will be serious. It can land you in jail many years. But we don't have that in place right now. And regardless of the kind of value system you brought from your house, you just realize that you get out there and you show it. And then people look at you as I was doing my master's in Unilag. And Can you hear me? I'm speaking.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hello, did you lose me at any point?
Yeah, I did, but I can pick you up from the point where you said your master's degree in Unilag, your master's program rather.
Yes, I can hear you. You said you can pick me up from the point where I said.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. So I'm sorry about the network. I have tried to change locations like 3 different times, but I can't control it. I'm so sorry about this. So like I was saying, there's a saying in Yoruba that amukun eru ewo. I was amazed when I was watching the APC primaries election online, and there was a point where Honorable Abike Dabiri said that delegates should write the names of their candidates or their aspirants of choice when they wanted to vote. She now added something and said that for delegates who could not write, their colleagues from the same local government can help them to write. And I felt really bad. Have delegates, who were in Abuja to decide the fate of 200 million people that could not write anything down. So it occurred to me that at some point, we need to look inward. Everything we have said about politicians being bad, being corrupt and all that is very true. But at some point, we need to begin to look at ourselves and begin to say that I need to participate. Look at us on this call, right? Let us assume that we are delegates. Are we going to go out there and say that we are collecting dollars to vote for somebody? We need to begin to be gatekeepers. And by the gatekeeper approach, we need to go to the grassroots, participate in politics, and have a politician to come and pass through us to say that I need your vote to get there. And at that point, you have a good standing to say that I'm not going to vote for you because you are corrupt. Many intelligent approach, social media activism and all that is not going to get us anywhere because I'm not looking at anything well or even milk and honey in the next 8 years. Because look at the fabric of the candidates that we have for the next election.
Okay. All
so
right.
I think we need to approach that gatekeepers approach to
Hello, can you hear me?
All right. I can hear you, Segun. Niyi, I will come back to you on the gatekeeper approach. I'll come back to you. So, go on. You have the floor.
Yeah. Fela said, who be government teacher, tradition and culture? We cannot divorce culture from governance because it is this absence of culture that has sunk our governance and our social values to the level it is at now.
Okay.
I'm a Yoruba boy. Yoruba says Iwalewa. Yoruba did not say Esinlewa or Edelewa or Ashalewa. Yoruba just said Iwalewa, which means that the understanding of my culture tells me that if a Fulani man or an Igbo man or an Edoma man or wherever the person comes from, the Niger Delta, has the ability, and has proven with time, the ability to steer and paddle the ship of our nation, that person should get my vote, not based on the fact that the person speaks my language or comes from my region of Nigeria. And if you check over time, our people are screaming today, get your PVC. And I'm so scared now because getting that PVC without political education is like putting a loaded gun in the hands of a child. If you get your PVC and you go and vote based on sentiments, based on what people are saying, not based on considered and discerning opinion, then we're likely going to run into troubled waters. So, and that is where in situations like this, where the artists must rise up to their roles in the society. When an artist becomes compromised, there's trouble. When a politician, a leader becomes compromised, there is trouble. When a cleric, that is a pastor or an imam, becomes compromised, there's trouble. When a teacher becomes compromised, there's trouble. You see this class of people that I've called, the leader, that's the politician, the cleric, that's our leaders, the teachers, you know, the artists. When these people become compromised, we're in trouble. They are the ones that must be clinical in their approach to selections, to action. If they allow themselves to be Bible, they were in trouble. So why am I saying this? This is the time when we rise up to say, listen, for the sake of our children, not about us now, our children, if we do not want our children to start running from pillar to post like we are running, like many of us want to do a lot of things, but we do it with so much stress, so much pain. It is understandable. But there are crimes in this world where we are now. You go to certain places and artists have the best of, you know, opportunities and so on and so forth. Not because they don't have challenges in those places, but those places understand the relevance of the arts. They understand the place of culture, and so they promote culture and even make other cultures come to their own cultures, so that when you see things through their prism alone. And that's problematic. So we have to work ourselves to that stage where right now, what should my art be saying? What should I be saying to people? I'm not the one to be campaigning for one politician or one that is the man that will do it. This is the time where you come and tell me your policy. What are you bringing? Give me your manifesto. What are you coming to do for us? And then I can use my art to say, this is what this man has promised to do for us. And then as soon as I do that, as an artist, I must get into that position of responsibility that if this man fails to deliver, then I share the responsibility too. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. So all of this conversation that we're having continues to underscore the importance and relevance of the artist, and especially performance artists. Thank you.
All right, you talked about the fact that when you campaign or support a politician, so at the end of the day, you know that when this man fails, you also share the responsibility. So I can see from the performance, that's actually one of the reasons that the performer, which is Yusuf, used mirror as one of the objects of the performance to reflect both the politician and the citizens. But I'll come back to that. I was going to Jelili, but now he has his hands raised up already. So Jelili, you have the floor.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. I want to thank Segun Adefila for raising 2 points, and that's why I want to talk about that. But before I go, I wanted to show very clearly, we are how many on the, we are 13 people now talking. Can I ask one simple question? And I want everybody to be sincere. How many of us belong to a political party in this discussion? How many of us?
Me.
Okay,
APC.
One, APC, one.
I do not belong to anyone.
Yeah, another person. So you see, this is exactly what
I want to join your party.
Wait, this is exactly.
I've been looking. It's your party that I want to join.
Excuse me. This is exactly what is happening.
Of course.
A lot of us, the elite, talk about Nigeria is this, leadership is this, leadership is that. But you sit down, not belonging to a political party. Let me try to explain what the democracy is all about for you. The system has been divided in a way that you must have to be active participation in it. If not, you are going to be complaining as you are complaining right now. So you cannot complain because you are not active, you are not participant. You are only there to vote alone. Niyi just erroneously say now that he was surprised that Abike Dabiri was making a comment that they take a decision for 200 million Nigerians. No, the decision were for their party. The party is choosing somebody to represent them. The decision to vote is in general election. So they can do anything in their own party. It doesn't concern the public. It is when they bring them to the public, then you can now begin to talk. So if you don't belong to a particular party, but shut your mouth, because it means that you are not contributing to the system. And that's exactly what is happening to us in Nigeria. A lot of us sit down, not involved in the process, and you want to make a change. It is not going to be possible. And besides, when we talk about leadership, we are removing leadership as citizens. Leaders are also citizens. It is the citizen who produce strong leader. So when the citizen produce strong leadership, then you don't need to complain. You are complaining. You are bringing part of yourself that is pushing it to you. And when you are educated, then you give your mandate to fools to rule you. But of course, become fools. So let us get it clearly. You know, when you want to talk about politics, you must be active. Let me take you into my own personal experience. When we wanted to change the political setting in Ejigbo, in 1999, I had to join political party. And I began to put people there who are meaningful. Those who will know that has the same thinking with us, we mobilize them to join the same party. We now campaign and begin to pick who go into the politics to represent us. And I'm glad I can tell you, and at that time, we produced as of assembly, the council chairman of our local government is from that camp. So automatically in my local government, I will tell you that yes, if you want to get anything in my local government, I'm so confident to tell you, I will call the local government chairman. So it's quite simple. If you don't participate in the politics and you are expecting change, please sit down, don't talk, because you are just noise maker. You must first of all go and join political party. Mobilize people. For example, in your area, if somebody said, yes, you don't want this, get to 200 people, mobilize into that party, change the leadership in that party. Then you begin to influence things. If you are not influencing things, and then, like right now, the APC has chosen president, and that person is choosing president, then you don't have option. You do not have option again. But for to vote for those who have been switching in their own political party. And that was why I did a project the other day, a performance project, where I declared myself as president candidate. But for me to let people understand that you do not have alternative when you don't participate in the political activities. So there is no shortcut to that. It is just unfortunate that just what Segun has just said, you know, because we are battling with the issue of colonialism, you know, IFA, which is our own system, has defined who a leader is supposed to be. IFA says leaders must be someone who has the experience and who has been part of the space that will control. A lot of people who become leaders are not part of the space. They either travel out, and when they need that, they're already hooked in their blood. They come back and begin to use the little money they have for you and begin to tell you, take this and take this. And when you buy, you go there and print and say, yes, I give you the mandates. So we have to look at it from that angle, you know, and that's exactly what Segun also said, that when you are compromised as an artist, then it means that the society also will compromise. But I want to reverse it also. I would say when the citizens are compromised, then the system itself will be compromised. And that's exactly what we have. So, and you just see, like I just said now, in this platform, only one person, including myself, who has a political party. So how do you change things? You cannot. We will completely the same way complaining, and we keep complaining. Let the youth go and understand that these constitutions we are working with a set of rules and regulations in the system. And these rules and regulations in the systems must also be adhered with. If not, you will be seen as somebody who is against the country. But of course, as an artist, we have this freedom, this power to say a lot of things, you know. And when you are saying that, you must be sincere in what you are saying. And you must also know that you know what you are doing, you know, not to be in a form of an escapist who just want to produce work and just want to escape. You must be able to. There was a time when Shoyinka was campaigning for Tinubu. He understands what Tinubu, you know, and what Shoyinka is an activist, right? But he understands the fact that you must be able to have somebody to push forward in the system and change that system. You cannot sit on the fence, and when it's time to make decision, and you are not complaining and said, just like Remy said, that when you go to the social media platform, a lot of people make a lot of complaint, and they're in the diaspora. So those in the diaspora will begin to complaining and complaining. You join them and be complaining. And when it's time to vote, you will now go and sit down and say, you be playing football. So when you are playing football, those who are not playing football decide what happened to you. Then the next morning you go to the social media and complain and say the election was rigged. Who rigged the election? You play football during the time to come and vote, or the people who in the diaspora who will not come to vote and begin to make complaint? No. So we have to understand all this thing. And the political elites who are there understand this system, and they're using this as a tool to remain perpetually in power. And they will remain in power if we don't change our own consciousness. And that's what we are doing as an artist, to begin to raise your personal consciousness about your environment, to begin to let you understand your own passiveness means it's dangerous. When you are passive politically, it means it's dangerous. And it is this from there that you may be able to know that it is either you become a negotiator and begin to sell your own right and don't complain when the pains come, and enjoy this because you buy it. You also buy it with your own causes. Myself and you, if I talk, I'm not talking from the point of victim. I'm talking from the point of active participant, because I know I contested for general election in 2007. I knew what it means when you campaign election in Nigeria. When you are in the street, they want to collect money from you. They don't want to ask about your values when you want to push. They don't want to hear anything. What they want to know is, how much do you get for us to collect? And that is the people. So these same people will produce leaders. And you are expecting the leaders to do miracles. No, they will not. They will rather, reproduce what you have reposted to them and give it back to you. So the issue is, let's raise the value of participation. Let's understand that the more we are, just like what the analysis of the censor that we're talking about, democracy is about people. It's about number. If the Northern are more than us, there is no way you can do it. They are going to be majority. And it is the majority we are talking about. So what happened? What were the Yoruba doing at the time of the censor? A lot of girls go to the market and say no. In 2006, I happened to be a numerator. In the one before that, I happened to be a numerator. So I could. It is not a matter of just somebody telling me about exactly. I know our attitude towards most of all these things. People wouldn't wait for them to be counted in Lagos. They prefer to go to the market and prefer to go. And again, during the censor, a lot of people move out of Lagos, for example, and go to the other places. And when the election come and they say, no, Lagos is more than the other places, they say no, because the empty Lagos during the censor at that time. So these are all the things that militate against us. We, the people, need to understand this issue of democracy. And that's what Segun is talking about. Political education. We are lacking it. The elite is lacking it. We, the artists, are also lacking it. Because we only think that the thing we need to do is for us to go to our studio, produce our work, and turn it back to society without participating. I'm a political artist because I am involved. It is my experience. So when I feel the pain, I put it into my heart and I turn it back to you to see, oh, this is what's going on. When, for example, I was arrested in 2016, was because I felt the pains of how the people who are essentially harassed. I felt it in my body. It is not about just me reading about things. You must be active participant, for us to change a lot of things. So when performance, activates political process, it is means that we are telling you to be active politically. We're not just telling you to engage with our forms and also with our sacred processes and go back to the house and sleep. No, we were trying to inject you with that strong energy for you to act. I will stop here.
Thank you for this strong submission. I have 4 hands up already, but I have lots of questions from your submission. Right, you made a statement at a point. You said, if you are not, I cannot quote you, but you were saying something like, the citizens that are not active in politics, later they will start complaining that they should shut up, right? So my question is, if, let's look at the deliberate disenfranchisement of citizens, as some people quoted, where people are trying to get their PVCs and, you go into a community with lots of people and you see one machine to register lots of people. What should the people do in that situation? Looking at the fact that they are trying to get the PVC, they are trying to do something, but the system is not allowing them. What should they do in that situation?
It all depends on what you mean by the systematic disenfranchisement. The time at which they have started voter registration, do you know when they have started?
Yeah, long ago.
So when they have started, the people attempt to go. But at that time, a lot of people have a lot of reasons to say, no, I am going to do that. They also said, go online, go and do your registration. Do a lot of people do it? But you will know that the same people who are in the system right now, get some people paid to mobilize to go and do the registration. While most of us who are the elites would rather go and do some other things and don't go for it. But they want to do things in their own flexible time. If you go to abroad, right? Okay, let me just state that. Yesterday, I'm in London right now. I'm talking in London right now. Yesterday, I went to British Museum. You can imagine the way people are lying down when they are lying on the line to go inside the museum to look at the object that is there. Can you ever do that in Nigeria? Do you ever see that in Nigeria? Yes, because but that's exactly what is happening. The same thing the same attitude we have in getting ourselves educated through looking at objects and trying to read meaning to it. The same thing we do politically. We leave a lot of things to a lot of people, thinking that they don't have jobs. Those are the same thing that I ask now, that how many of you belong to a political party in this platform that we're talking, which we have only 2 out of 13. So the same attitude, it is the attitude of trying to say that, yeah, I can do it another time. And when another time comes and you go to the line and see there's a lot of people there. But without understanding that, if it is for me to spend a whole day trying to get my PVC and make point that the political system in life is the determinant of everything in our life. It's determinant. They determine who you are, they determine what to do, they determine how to move, they determine a lot of things about your life. And if you are so passive about the system and you are so relaxed about that, then of course you will expect, when you want to play victim, we like to project out the consciousness of being a victim. Yeah, somebody is saying, no, it is a system, systematic disenfranchisement, where you see that most of the time on the social media and you are talking. People like vocabulary a lot in the social media, but I've participated in one thing. I just told you when I left university, and at the time I got into politics, that is not the time I was supposed to go, because at that time I'm supposed to be looking for job, right? But I look at it and said, no, if I get a job and the atmosphere is not conducive to my society, because I'm more concerned about my society, which is the Jibo, my community in the Jibo, that if I'm not compatible personally and my community is hailing, then it affects me. So what I do was to leave part of my time and I go into politics, change a lot of things. If you go to my area at that time, they nicknamed me Atawewe because I become so odd that if you do not follow what we wanted, then it's not going to happen. So with that, a lot of people mobilize a lot of people into the party at that time and get our own councillor who represent us, who listen to us. So that is the one thing we need to do. It is just having a right political attitude.
All right. So I have another question. Someone actually asked the same question I was going to ask. You talked about active participation, right? And right now we can see that people are actively trying to register for their PVCs. Is that not enough active participation? Must everybody belong to a political party?
But the system defines what to do. Whether you like it or not, we are being governed by that system because that's what politics is all about. That's what governance is all about. They define a lot of things, and that's what I'm saying about if you don't care about who go into that governance seat and define system for you, then you're going to. So the system is defined in a way that if you feel like you are not being carried along by that system, then there's a way to protest that. Now, which everybody, and we have that power of the protest and do a lot of things. If, for example, PVC was supposed to be in a particular place and it's not there, the youth of that area can protest, and the press will carry. When the press will carry, the government will know that you are trying to do something wrong in that area, and that's why people are talking about it. It is just like that. Wow, I think I'm also going to run because I have an appointment, in a short while I have to go.
Thank you so much. And Segun Adefila says he's also going to sign out, that he is late for some rehearsals. Thank you so much for being here. We'll continue the conversation. Thank you for your time. Let me ask Yusuf if he has some words for you before.
Thank you all. Thank you very much. I had a very great time here. Thank you very much.
Yusuf, do you have anything to say to them before they leave? While we'll continue the conversation here. Oh, Yusuf is not here. All right. Thank you, Jelili. Thank you, Segun. Kunle, you were raising your hands. You have the floor.
So thank you so much, all. I have to go. Yes. I really appreciate the conversation. Yes.
Bye. I love the energy that Mr. Jelili Atiku brought into the room. It's always a pleasure listening to him because sometimes when he's talking, you will be fired up. Like when he's talking, I enjoy it when he talks. I love that consciousness you're talking about. You will wake up if you're sleeping. Because you can't be sleeping when he's talking. You cannot sleep because it makes you see what you should do. So for me, I really don't have much to say because I feel like by 5 o'clock I will also leave in the next 10 minutes. But what I would just like regarding to what he said, like INEC will not count social media comments. If you like trends, social media trend does not win election in Nigeria. If you like be trending, INEC will not count that one. It's the vote, like I said. So the political education, I think, is not just the job of a performance artist alone. It's a collective effort.
Yeah.
A collective effort. It begins at home. It begins in when we have social gathering as friends. Because all of the outcome of choosing a bad leader, many of us, or majority, will suffer it, right? So what affects one affects all. So for me, it's more of collectively, whether you are a traditionalist, you are a Christian, you are a Muslim, whatever religion you practice, participate. Religion will never give you good governance. Never. You must participate. You must be involved. You must vote. You must mobilize. You must mobilize more people. Don't let me say much. I see Mr. Yusuf want to talk because we've been talking since. We should give him that as well.
Yeah, thank you, Yusuf. You have the floor.
Hello?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. Mr. Segun Adefila is gone now. Okay, he's still there. So I'm Mr. Jelili Atiku and everyone and my co-performance. Now, what's exactly what I thought for this discussion was just for enlightenment, and I've also gotten that, when, as Mr. Jelili Atiku said, when an artist is disturbed, you put it into your work, and that's exactly that. I'm not in a party, and someone in a party, whatever things they do there is also affecting me, and that is how I put that performance out, to release whatever things that is bothering me. And from this platform, I've learned so much. When you voice out, you'll be able to learn that. All the speakers, seriously speaking, you deliver well. I learned a lot from everyone. And Mathew, seriously speaking, you anchor it very well. I'm very grateful because this is a plus. This is a plus. I'm so happy. I don't know how to express myself. Right from the phase one, which is the performance, with my co-performance, and then to the second phase is just amazing. And to Kunle Adewale, the host, I'm so grateful. Aderemi Adegbite, Niyi Olayiwola, everyone, and those that joined this conversation. My thought was, when these people, as he said on this platform, they have started. So we are just, starting to join them. They have started far, and I was just looking at what's going to be our own voice when they are the one making the voice out there. And that is how this performance came. And this, this submission is going to help a lot of youths, a lot of people out there. Those are the things that we push out and people to learn, that we need more education. We need to educate ourselves more on this political stuff, because either we like it or not, whatever things they are doing is also affecting us. Either we are just passive, we are just hurting ourselves, we keep shouting. So what is the solution? In the quest of I asking myself, what's the solution to all this? So I came up with this, and I thank everyone that joined in this move to let us to make us push our voice out there. So thank you so much. Thank you, and thank you so much. God bless you all.
Yeah, Yusuf, thank you. I would